I've been a Yamabushi since 2017, and in Yamabushi training we do a number of rituals and different practices. The best way to actually understand what I'm about to tell you is to come and do the training yourself, but I understand that's not exactly practical for a lot of people. But there are quite a few aspects of Yamabushi training that I incorporate into my daily life, and I want to share some of them with you. These concepts are things that have drastically changed my life for the better, and I hope to give you that opportunity by sharing them as well. My hope is that by the end of this video you'll be equipped with some of the tools that we Yamabushi use in our everyday life to basically deal with whatever life throws at us. So today I've compiled a list of the top 5 Yamabushi things that we can do in our everyday lives. So without further ado, let's get on to it. First up is what's called Tosogyo, which translates to walking ascetic practice, but it's not as simple as that. Many people would have heard of Shingyo, which is bathing in the forest. This practice does actually incorporate some of the concepts of Shingyo, as you basically go outside and walk in nature. If you're familiar with the polytheistic nature of Japan, you will know that there are presences felt in all facets of nature, from the rivers to the trees to the rocks to the mountains to the waterfalls to the oceans, and these things all combine to give us what we know as life. So it's very important for us to say thank you. When you're out in nature doing Tosogyo, be sure to stop and smell the roses, so to speak, but make sure you also thank them as well. So when you're doing Tosogyo, and this is one of the most important parts of being a Yamabushi, but you should stop and pray to these facets of nature. You can just do what the Japanese do, which is simply bow twice, clap twice, and bow once. And the reason why Japanese people do it this way is because you bow once to people who are the same level as you, but the kami are obviously a level above you, which is why we bow twice. And then the reason for the 2 claps is that's like the send button on your cell phone when you're sending a text message or sending an email. So when you bow, you say a prayer to the kami, and you send it by clapping twice. The last bow is to show your appreciation. There are a few pointers for doing Tosogyo effectively. One is to keep quiet. One is to keep your mouth shut as you do it. This is to better be able to absorb what nature is trying to tell you, and it could give you a realization that you haven't had before as well. And be sure to give it time. So either spend a whole lot of time out in nature, or give yourself a lot of time to be able to absorb what these lessons are trying to tell you. Don't come back expecting to reach Buddhahood, but know that there will be positive effects for you. One bonus is hiking at night. So if you hike at night, you have to rely more on your senses of touch and smell and hearing, and is a slightly more unique way to get in touch with nature as well. Alright, let's go on to the second item on my list, and this is Tokogatame, which is Yamabushi style meditation. If you've tried Zazen, seated meditation, Ajikan, which is a form of meditation done by Shingon priests, or even things like transcendental meditation, you may be familiar with a few of these concepts. But with Yamabushi meditation, Tokogatame, there aren't actually that many rules. Toko means the ground, and Gatame literally means to harden or to solidify. So Tokogatame is about solidifying your place in the world. The idea with Tokogatame is that you just have to be in the moment. It's a reminder that you are part of the big world, and there are no proper rules really. So you can do it seated or standing. You can do it with your eyes closed or open. All you've got to do is just keep still and try to focus on being in the moment. The next concept that I want to introduce you to is called Hansei Hanzoku. Hansei Hanzoku, which translates into English as half sacred and half secular. These days there aren't really any full-time Yamabushi. I mean, you could say that Master Hoshino is because he spent his whole life doing Yamabushi style things, but he's retired and he did have a full-time job in the past. If you're a priest, normally that's what you do, that's your occupation. If you're a nun, that's your occupation as well. If you're a monk, it's the same. There isn't really any halfway point. For Yamabushi, we use the concept of Hansei Hanzoku to mean that we can be involved in both worlds, so both the world of the Yamabushi and the secular world that you and I inhabit. We think of one world as an extension of the other. So it's not an us versus them thing, it's an us and us thing. So Yamabushi used the concept of Hansei Hanzoku in order to better serve the people that we wish to serve. So to be able to serve you, we try to get an understanding of what life is like for you so that we can better understand you and better apply the concepts of Yamabushi to your life. Another important point is that with Hansei Hanzoku, we understand that Yamabushi life is not the be-all and end-all. And once you become a Yamabushi, you're a Yamabushi. Nothing else really changes, although you will be able to better utilize these concepts into your life. So item number 4 is to recite the Heart Sutra, which is called Hannya Shingyo in Japanese. The Heart Sutra is the realizations that Gautama Buddha had at enlightenment. The main message of the Heart Sutra is form is nothingness and nothingness is form. The original Heart Sutra is actually huge. It's a couple thousand pages long, but fortunately they made an abridged version which takes about 2 or 3 minutes to read through. And if you visit any Buddhist temple in Japan, you will see the Heart Sutra, or you will hear the Heart Sutra, and it's extremely useful if you're doing the Ohendo, the 88 temple pilgrimage in Shikoku. So we Yamabushi use the Heart Sutra a lot, we pray it a lot, and one important time in which we pray the Heart Sutra, or you don't have to, but it's kind of recommended, is during waterfall meditation. So during the waterfall meditation, we aren't just standing underneath the waterfall. Often we are reciting some sort of mantra, and the Heart Sutra is perfect because it takes about 2 or 3 minutes to read through. And if you're able to recite it, you can show just how resilient you are. Just a side note, waterfall meditation is not a competition at all. It's about showing that you have built the resilience to withstand what is quite a harrowing experience at times. And with this experience to withstand the harrowing times, you can directly apply this to things that happen in your life. And I find that often when things start to get tough, or I need to try and put in a bit more effort to be able to try and get through something, I'd like to remind myself to just recite the Heart Sutra, as it can be a really good way to just keep you pushing forward and forward, just like as we do, as we say, under the waterfall. Lastly is Uketamo, and Uketamo literally means I accept. How could I do a Yamabushi video on concepts that you can use in your life without mentioning Uketamo? The thing is, to really understand Uketamo, you really do have to come and do Yamabushi training, but there are some things that I think I will be able to explain. During Yamabushi training, we are constantly saying Uketamo. So the master will say, we will now climb Haguro-san, Uketamo, and you climb Haguro-san. Or we will now do waterfall meditation. You only say Uketamo and you do waterfall meditation. But so it's not just following orders of your master, but for example, one time a few years back, I was doing waterfall meditation and a gnat came and bit my leg, and my I think it was my left leg, was it? It swelled up really bad actually. So I had to just Uketamo and just had to get through it. The whole experience is an experience of what they call rebirth, or metaphorical rebirth. It's about becoming a new you, or moving up to the next stage in your life, or getting up to the next level. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to accept yourself. And Uketamo literally means I accept. And so throughout the training, many times over, we are accepting our current selves, so that we can move on to the next. And so the next time that you are feeling a little bit under the pump, or you are feeling a bit overwhelmed, try to remember Uketamo. Yamabushi training is certainly intense, but it's not impossible, and that for me is a reminder that if you have the right tools and the right mindset, you can get through anything. And Yamabushi training is something that taught me just that. So I hope to share these concepts with you. So which of these concepts do you think you'll be likely to use? Which of these concepts do you think will help you in your life? And which of these concepts do you think just are outrageous and you don't really want to have a word of it? It's not exactly practical for you to go and find a waterfall so that you can practice Uketamo. But please let me know in the comments. I'm really looking forward to hear what you say, and I hope to see you in the next video. So ka kite anō, and I'll see you next time.